Diving into the world of our second case tournament. You guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more content. Now the story changes from the first case tournament, where we have this massive Ryzeal domination out here. We see a little bit of a dial back out here to having two Ryzeal decks being in your top 8 of this event, which is actually a different tale because within your top 3, you do not have a Ryzeal list. So, you know, Ryzeal domination locking down first, second, and fourth of the first event. And you see that shift here with this, which is very interesting. We also have, I should probably tell you now, when we get to the top 16 of this, we have a Lightsworn variant that you're really going to want to see. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We also had 2 Fire King versions out here for your meta. Now, I'm not surprised to see that, you know, the former tier 1 contender is still sticking around out here and it's still doing very well. Yes, it's as the deck kind of should be doing. We also had 2 Centurion duelists. I gotta tell you, watching Centurion be this massive grind out here, and it does so well against so many of these options. To me, it's very interesting. We also had a Rescue Ace deck. Now, I think actually seeing Rescue Ace out here was one of the coolest things that we could see. It definitely proves that Rescue Ace is still a very strong deck. And we actually get to see a Tenpai rise to the occasion out here. Tenpai has really been struggling out here to kind of get a foothold in the meta. And I possibly think that it's just because of how things are going right now, with Ryzeal just being this huge thing. If you see less Ryzeal in an event, you can see all these other decks kind of start to flourish out here and do well. And like I said, top 16 will also be in this video. And we have this really, really cool Lightsworn deck out here. That's really cool. You know, just looking at a snapshot of top 8 is interesting. But when you can actually go further in and see what else is actually cooking is really nice. Let's pass on over to deck list. So starting things off here, we have our Fire King Snake Eyes pile. Of course, we're doing 2 Ukulonics, which I think is fine. We've been seeing a little bit more of a dial back on this. You also do see, hey, look, attack talents, some thrust, and some dimensional barriers. Yes, if you can high roll dimensional barrier, you're probably going to have an extremely good time out here because you just kind of shut your opponent out of getting the chance to play the game. And of course, I see the little Fucho that could out here. There's nothing else really too crazy to talk about with this. I mean, most of your tactics are going to be the same. All right, we have, wow, this list, we really are going full steam ahead out here with the Fire King, but you do see here, there is a difference between this and the other list. It is the number of Ukulonics, and I mean a couple more cards. You know, this build going 46 versus the other list that was a little bit slimmer. I also do see here that we are doing the good old skill drain in here. I too love punishing my opponent for attempting to actually play the game. This is, I don't think a lot of decks really necessarily might have an ability to play around that right now. Okay. Ooh, we have our Rescue Ace deck. First of all, 60 cards is pretty interesting to actually see, but I also see we have the additional Deception on the side deck. That's really weird. I see that we are sending the OSSs. So we can board into triple OSS. This deck was very, very interesting. Of course, we have full Fiendsmith combo in here. You do see that we are doing the Fiendsmith in Paradise. This card is extremely broken, man. Like, I gotta tell you, it's really, really dumb to be dealing with that. All right, ooh, we have our Ryzeal Challenger. Now, this is the Forbidden Chalice list that we saw previously, but it's also doing the Shark package in here, so you can do things. This duelist had success on both levels out of both events, which I think is pretty cool to see. You know, the Ryzeal stuff, depending on the variation of things that you're doing, can really play out. You also do see that we are doing the anti-spell, and this build was choosing to play the other copy of Cross in here as well. So you've got everything that you kind of wanted to be seeing with this. So that's your top 4. Top 8 here, we have our Centurion, the Triple Moonlit Chill, looking pretty good. Of course, you know, you do have that fully extended by steel package in here. You do play the Autry. A lot of lists I saw were not touching this. I actually think this card kind of starting to come up now is actually pretty decent, which is good. And of course, you know, you do get to see the deck locked down here, getting some major love. But you have a different story out here, and your Centurion is actually doing very well. Next up is our Tenpai duelist. Talk about this deck just being in a really awkward position right now. I do see that we are choosing to play the chicken game. I mean, hey, this is a free draw card. Like, this card is pretty solid. I also see that we do have the Sengen summoning, of course. You're picking your field spells, man. Like, you're going to hand your opponent the chicken game. you're not even going to bat an eye at it. Like, it's just one of those situations you're like, oh, hey, we've done it. I also see we are playing 2 shifters. That's an interesting choice, but, I mean, this looks fine. I saw the Dissipator down there. All right, hey, we have, this pretty much looks the exact same as our other challenger. Of course, we have some Lantius and the one of Sanctum out here. So we're really trying to pull through with this, which is not bad. I mean, if you've got Malice running around, you are going to want to see these, because getting that turn skip on your opponent pretty much just ensures that you can attempt to win the game. And I think that's very, very good. And we also get the chance to see Deck Lockdown out here, getting another fantastic appearance. And our last top 8 list is our other Ryzeal competitor. All right, now this is probably your most standard list. I mean, Triple Desires, you're going with the 2 crosses. And of course this, main decking the 2 talents. And then of course, we have some coverage down here. Just kind of take care of the extra deck. And you do see the Starleash Photon Dragon also being another strong card, but I think you've got your bases covered with this. So that is your top 8. Very, very, very strong meta appearance as we were expecting. Next up here, we have, Tenpai Dragons dipping on down here. This build choosing to play double Super Poly, so you know you can rip your opponent apart. I see the Dragostapelia, the Mud Dragon, and of course the Garua. And of course we have some Heat Waves down here. Don't underestimate Heat Wave right now. I think Heat Waving your opponent to steal the game really, really, really is kind of stupid. You also do see that we are citing the shifters now. This deck can no longer afford to play shifter because of the Malice shift in the meta. Even if there's no Malice present, you just cannot risk your opponent just OTKing you. We've also got some Kashtira for you here. Actually, somebody going with pure Kashtira. Pot of Extravagance, I mean, you can structure your extra deck so that things won't burn you too hard. I think that's actually perfectly fine. You might look at the 1 pot of Prosperity in this and might think there might be a confliction, but I don't think there actually is. Of course, all of your ratios in this I think are correct. Also, this Lava Golem's pretty cute. I love the fact you don't even have to normal summon in this deck. Alright, oh hey, look, we have more Snake Eyes for you out here. I see the 2 Oak, which has become very, very normal at this point. We're taking the 1 copy of Ogre. I too love Ogring the Duo Drive when my opponent opens up on it and they can't actually do anything else. And of course, Triple Impulse. This card still, it's really kind of losing its foothold in the meta right now. I love this card, I really do. But man, oh man, does it actually suck when you can't do anything against Ryzeal with it. Alright. Ooh, we've also got more Fire King action for you back here. I see we are playing 1 copy of the Fire King Skyburn in the side deck. This build did go to 2 copies of Vukolonyx. We're playing 43 cards, which I think is fine. But this build's actually main decking Double Dimensional Barrier. This duelist had such trauma today that they went through and actually main decked Dimensional Barrier. Like, how crazy is that to see that you have to play this? Why not just play Ultimate Slayer if you're really just worried about things? But I guess the coverage needed to be had. We've also got Memento and Friends. I do see that we are doing the Diablaze in here. This was the more recent combo lines were kind of starting to come to light, which, I mean, are really cool. You do see the Cranium Burst with the Fracture Dance down here, which is fine. And, of course, side decking the Perulias. A lot of people were talking about Perulia. It was kind of a miss, which, I don't know, Perulia was kind of nuts for me. But maybe I'm just the oddball out here. Next up, we have your 60-card Lightsworn pile. I see we're playing 1 copy of the Mimighoul Archfiend in here. This is a pile, man, because, like, we've got U-Bell combo built in here. You're also doing Grass Looks Greener, so you can do things. This also gives you access to the Nightmare Throne. You're also doing the Fiendsmith in Paradise. And, of course, we are doing the Chaos Betrayer and the Diabolica with the Harris. Like, this is a pile of cards that I didn't even think about actually choosing to play. And you also have 1 copy of the Mischief of the Gnomes down here. Like, what a deck. Next up here, we have more Snake Eyes Deception for you. And, of course, I mean, full Fiendsmith package, main decking 2 Deceptions. I've noticed more of these pure builds. I've kind of been cutting back on Deception. Deception, in my opinion, is still a good card, but, you know, it can be a little bit detrimental in the current stages. So, you know, this is, I think, a little bit fine. You also do see that we are side digging those Book of Eclipses for Ryzeal. A lot of people kind of a little bit missing with this. But, you know, if this card actually resolves, you just kind of win the game. And then, of course, hey, we have more Fire King action for you. There was so much Fire King in the second event. Like, this is nuts. Once again, you do see the double Vukolonyx. You see 42 cards. You do see the additional copy of Skyburn being sided down here, which is fine. And, of course, you know, we are playing the zombie vampire. On the off chance, you know, it actually does come up. Also, nice solemn judgments. But that's our breakdown for this second case tournament. I'm really happy to see that we had that little Lightsworn pile, because it does show some cool innovations. So please, if you comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.